Yo, what's good out there, world? Welcome to this edition of tradeMarc's Smoke and Bake session. And this evening, tradeMarc is going to be making for you a homemade from scratch Greek yogurt coffee cake. Now, let's get to the ingredients. And the ingredients are as follows. So, I can't make a Greek yogurt coffee cake without some Greek yogurt. So, I'll also have here in the back some room temperature milk, some white sugar, light brown sugar. You can use dark sugar if you like, but that's all I had in the house. I also got some Domino confectioner sugar. I got some all-purpose flour, baking powder, baking soda. I got 3 sticks of unsalted butter at room temperature. And I also have some eggs at room temperature. I'm going to be making this cake in my 9-inch springform cake pan. I just learned today that was the name of it when I was looking at the recipe. They say use a springform pan. I Googled it and I was like, I got one. And also I'm going to be using some Baker's Joy. So now let's get to this mix. I'm getting ready to make this homemade from scratch Greek yogurt coffee cake. So right now I'm getting ready to take my Baker's Joy and I'm going to spray my cake pan down. And I already preheated my oven to 350 degrees. And now I'm just going to set this to the side. So now it's time to make the streusel for the Greek yogurt coffee cake. So I'm going to be using 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. I'm also using 1/4 cup of light brown sugar. Like I said earlier, you can use brown. I kind of packed that good. And here I have 1/4 teaspoon of white sugar and 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. So I'm going to take my whisk and just make sure all that is mixed. You can see, make sure that's all mixed and incorporated. Now, something I didn't mention earlier, you're going to need 3 tablespoons of cold butter, not room temperature, but cold. And I actually took the 3 tablespoons of butter and I kind of like chopped them up in little cubes. And we're going to like place that in. Now, I don't have like a food processor or, you know, I need to like get some more baking stuff, but you can use your fingertips. And the caution with your fingertips, first, make sure your fingers are clean. And second, you do not want to melt the butter. So you want to just gently just incorporate it. And I'm going to do this until it turns into like a crumb. So now I have my streusel filling and topping combined. Like I said, I use my fingertips. And you just really want it to be like a real coarse-like. So now I'm going to set this aside and start the mixing. Now at the beginning of the video, you might have seen my hand mixer. But I guess I'm spoiled and I put that up and I bought my stand mixer out. So here in my stand mixer, I have 2 sticks of unsalted butter at room temperature, 2 eggs at room temperature, and I have 1 cup of white sugar. So now I'm about to like mix it, and I want it to have like a real creamy texture. I started off on low, and then I'll turn it up a little bit. And we're going to let this mix until it gets creamy. Alright, I'm about to turn this off. That didn't take long. That was only probably about 3 minutes. Now I'm getting ready to go in with 1 teaspoon of this McCormick cake batter flavor abstract. And I'm going to go in with 1 cup of Greek yogurt. Now me, I'm using plain Greek yogurt. You can use vanilla or Well, the recipe called for vanilla, but I didn't see none in the store, so I just say you can't go wrong with plain. I'm going to be already adding different flavors in there. So now let's get this mixed into a nice creamy mix. Always don't forget to wipe your bowl down in the middle of your mix to make sure everything is in and everything gets incorporated in the mix. We want a thorough mix. So now I'm ready to mix my dry ingredients. So right here, I have 2 cups of flour. I have 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, and I also have a half a teaspoon of baking soda. So now I'm going to put this all in my sifter. And I'm going to sift the flour. So I think this mix is nice and it's creamy enough. Let's see. Let's wipe our sides now. Yeah. Nice texture right there. So now, the flour mix that I have right here, I'm ready to pour this in a little at a time. So I'm going to put my mixer back down and I'm going to put it on a low speed and add my flour in. And I'm going to do it a little at a time. And now I'm going to add the rest of it in. And once this becomes to the texture that I need it to be, I'm going to turn it off and I'm going to put it in my pan. So here's my final mix on my cake batter. It's nice and creamy. So remember that streusel that I made. Here you go right here, and I'm about to use it. I went and got my cake pan that I already sprayed down with some Baker's Joy. Now the first thing I want to do is pour half of my cake mixture in the pan. And what I'm going to do next, I'm going to take my streusel and just sprinkle it around the cake. But I want to make sure I leave some for the topping. And as always, make sure your hands are clean. So now I'm going to pour the rest of this batter on top. I think this is about it. And I'm going to spread this evenly around the pan. You always want your cake batter even. And I'm going to take the rest of the strudel and just crumb that on the top of the cake. And that should turn out really good, especially with the butter mixed with the strudel. This is real nice. And remember, I already preheated my oven to 350. And I actually forgot how long to leave it in, but by the time the video gets to you, you'll know how long I left it in there. But here you go. And now I'm getting ready to get this in the oven, and I'll see y'all when it's done. Okay, let's make this vanilla glaze for the cake. So I have, I melted 2 tablespoons of butter. Let me get that out. So I had 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to use a half a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm going to use a half a tablespoon of milk. And I'm going to use 1 cup of confectioner's sugar. And I got my whisk. And I'm just going to keep. Okay, I think I'm finished with this mix. I did have to add a little more milk. I think I added total 1 tablespoon of milk, but here's my consistency. This is what I like. Now, after my cake come out the oven and cool off, I'm going to be putting this on the cake. So here's my final presentation of tradeMarc's made from scratch Greek yogurt coffee cake. It turned out pretty good. I came to realize I don't think my pan was a 9-inch because on the side it kind of overrode the pan and it came out a little bit. But it's okay though, live and learn. But here it is, tradeMarc's made from scratch Greek yogurt coffee cake.